for joining us. This is The Right Perspective. As you all know, we are a bi-weekly podcast. We review television shows and movies that are classics, and we have made an exception to our rule. We are reviewing one show in real time, and that is This Is Us, because it is so good. We are 100% confident that it is going to be a classic at some point. So it's just so good. So let's kick off with introductions, y'all. Let's get right into discussion.
Hi, I'm Aubrey Wright. I'm the oldest.
I'm Janiyah Wright. I'm the middle.
I'm Brittany Wright, and I'm the youngest.
And y'all, this was season 5, episode 8, called In the Room. Why is this show so good? So good.
You know, it's interesting because this isn't even one of my favorite episodes. And it was still just, even when it's like it starts so far ahead of most TV that even when I was literally thinking like, it's crazy how much I'm enjoying this, and it's not even one of my favorite episodes.
Yeah.
But I mean, and just the excitement of knowing, man, I can't wait to see who this dude is, who this lady is, and how it's gonna all tie in. And I don't know how it's gonna tie in, but I know it's gonna be awesome.
You're right.
And every time they just find ways to subvert your expectations. And tonight, funny enough, they just gave us a happy episode.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell you, I was like, they are about to destroy us.
I thought so too.
In the last 30 seconds.
I was like, Randall and Beth are getting in a car accident.
Rose is gonna die.
Rose gonna die.
Yeah, something is about to happen.
Kate and Toby ain't getting the baby. I just thought
the girl gonna run in and steal the baby and run out.
Only one twin will live. I was like,
what's her face was gonna die after the babies were born.
Rebecca was gonna have an episode and miss the whole thing. Oh my god.
Or she was gonna turn around and look at the painting like, what's that? You know, something grounds it, but I guess every once in a while, This Is Us just, I mean, you can't get comfortable.
We need a break.
They'll give you a night off. They'll give you a night off.
A break.
But you know, I mean, they're
go ahead, bro.
I'm just saying there's several different aspects of the episode. So I guess we could first talk about the what they opened with, which was the story of this scientist meeting this woman randomly, and they just give us enough to keep the story so interesting. And you're like, man, how are they gonna tie this in? And they just feed you a little bit.
Well,
it's just
I didn't even need them to give me anything. I had already created the whole storyline. I said, oh, of course I was being racist, and I said, oh, these are Miguel's like grandparents.
We all thought
I was like, Miguel doesn't know.
We all thought it's this. That's all we had to go on.
I was like, oh, that's what this is. We thought he was Latinx this entire time.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I thought, but I didn't. I never thought that because
I thought it was somehow somebody related to him. I did. I thought it was a relation. I did.
Listen, yeah.
But he's not Indian.
Rachel. Thank you, Janiyah. Rachel said the same thing. We all thought that.
A relation of some sort.
Because I was like this.
Yeah, because the mother was from Argentina.
Yeah.
The father was from India. It could have been a relation.
Yeah.
This is the only one. This is the only one. And then as the episode continued, I said, oh, he came up with Alzheimer's medication. Got it. And then I was making everything up. I was like, I very clearly did not know who this person was.
At no point did he say he was a pharmaceutical scientist. He did
not at all.
Not even a bit of that.
None of the sort. None of the sort, but he was in my mind. And I said, well, look at that. And then as it continued, but as it wrapped up and they gave, just this admiration to this man who he knew that this would be important, but did he ever know that the world would be in a pandemic and we could not be doing anything right now without video messaging, without being able to have this? Did he know that?
I think he might have. He seemed pretty perceptive. I think if we would have asked him, he might have said it, because when in his eyes, he was like, imagine.
That actor was so good. That
he
actor
did such a great
so
job.
Good.
Yeah, he was. It was like job. He was like, imagine a picture, and I'm into it. Like, I'm not,
about to get on Zoom.
I'm like, yeah, imagine.
And you're like, that would be amazing.
That would be amazing.
And y'all, so
but he was just so into it.
His scientist's name is Nasir Ahmed. He was born in 1940 in Bangalore, India, and he is an Indian American electrical engineer and computer scientist. Okay, and listen, he is credited. He invented the technology that today allows us to video chat and send photos on our phones. And y'all, I mean, we could have lived our whole lives not knowing this man's name. And now we know it. And I want to thank you, This Is Us and NBC, because
thank you.
It's like
I second that. Thank you.
Because it's like, listen, y'all, I would just say that the name of this episode was In the Room. And I want to talk about what was in the room. I think gratitude was in the room. I think friendship was in the room. I think joy and love were in the room, y'all.
Where's my tambourine?
Hallelujah. Because I was just like, oh my gosh, and I feel like we have all been like saying, because it's the thing you say, oh, thank goodness for technology that's allowing us to stay in touch right now in this very difficult time. We all say it, but it's really, I think, sometimes a very shallow gratitude. And I'm just so grateful for This Is Us, because it's kind of like, no, y'all, this is amazing. This is wonderful. Like,
Skype isn't. I don't like Skype.
All right, you're missing the point. You're not in the room. Someone get Brittany out of the room.
I've been trying to get out the room. They keep putting me back in. They keep putting me back in.
We need to get Brittany in the room.
Get her out. She can't be in here.
Get me out the room.
But
where's my rotary phone? Someone patch me a rotary phone.
I do, and
I just appreciate that. I thought that was wonderful.
I mean, because I'm gonna tell you, like, I do think about it all the time, because and when you think about when he's talking about this.
That's right. 1970s, y'all.
Think about when he's talking about it. Like, first of all, it was just so great how his partner just jumped on board with him. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, I get it now. You like, I can see that vision. That's all she was. She just wanted to be in on the vision. She wanted to know what's going on. And just seeing how it blossomed that was his brainchild. Mm-hmm. It was something and I'm just saying, it was so relevant to not only what's going on right now, but you're thinking, like, imagine going through all of this without this technology.
Right.
It'd be crazy,
It's true.
So I love how they wrap that up. And obviously the show was going along. The main points were these two births, right? The birth of Kate's surrogate and the birth of the twins. And I got to tell you,
meaning Kevin and Madison's twins.
Yeah. And I'm going to tell you, in that Kate one, in that room, they had me on a roller coaster.
Yeah, I would say roller coasters, pins, needles. Okay. Oh boy. I mean,
and it was so well acted, because Kate's she wasn't even talking. It was just the pain in her face, like, oh.
It's so funny. And I'm not gonna lie to y'all. And again, I'm like, this show really does challenge me to just want to be a better person. Because when the birth mom was like, Can I just hold her? I wanted to say no. I'm sorry. That's just going to get everything confused. We have a streamlined process. We're going to use best practices to make sure that we manage all of the motion of this process.
Well, you can't because the baby is still hers until she does officially give rights.
I know.
That's still her baby. That's the tricky part.
Thought. That's what I thought in my mind. My mind was
the tricky part.
No, I'm sorry. You can't.
So rude.
That's so callous. Rude. And I'm not going to be that kind of person.
And she would have been like,
I'm saying goodbye to that person. That Janiyah is not in the room.
She would have been, well, she would have been like, well, tell Kevin I say hi. I mean, that goes.
Toby I say hi.
Tell Toby I say hi.
The thought of Kate and Toby having another letdown, I just couldn't bear it. I couldn't bear the thought.
Like while they were there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, I thought they did it. I thought they did it because when, like right now, you're watching. If This Is Us, they're so great because it's like you were expecting something bad to happen this episode, wasn't you? We had you on the edge.
Gotcha.
All episode, and the thing is that it would make sense that would be the devastating thing that they did. Like I could see them doing that. Like, okay, Kevin and Madison's babies are fine, but they lost the adoption, and we would have all been on here devastated. So that is good that you really feel the stakes.
You do.
And that's good.
Stakes. You feel the
but
stakes.
I think it's.
Mm-hmm. So go ahead, sis.
Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead, sis.
And I was just gonna say that's life. Like you can always hope for the best and you can always do everything you can.
That's right.
Have faith. But the truth is you don't know.
That's
and
right.
then in the moment you got to figure out how to react.
That's right.
I just love when Kate said the new big three. And Rachel put that in here. And it was like, when she said it, I was like, oh, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
The twins and now an adopted child. Like, it's the same thing.
It's the same
thing. I said, listen here. And then y'all want to not have, y'all don't want to have 38 seasons. How rude. This Is Us.
No,
I need you to have at least 27 seasons.
I want them to leave me wanting more. I wanted to end like, oh man.
No, man. I'm sad.
Because I don't want the others.
No, I need This Is Thus. This is them.
She's trying to create a This Is
over
Us
here.
There they go again.
Universe. That's getting there who they have been.
Everybody has a spinoff.
And then where they at? There they are.
That's what they had done.
That's right. And then This Is Us again. This is more. This is more of us. But you know what? And I'll say for all of the main characters, and I want to name, like, I think the show did a great job, as we've just been celebrating, of really, giving us a lot of really happy points today in the stories of the main characters.
Can I say one thing before we move on? Because I want to say with Brittany, because Brittany, that was just one of those things that almost got me. And what was so frustrating about it, I knew what they were doing. And it doesn't matter. Because it's like in your mind, you think, okay, so a moment like that would be Courtney. Like the new big three. No, they just did it in this perfect way where they just stuck the landing. And I just wanted to co-sign what Brittany was talking about before on that point.
So good. And thank you for bringing it up, Rachel. So good. And, the point I was just going to make is that as much as we got like all these positive points for our main characters, they weren't, but in the This Is Us way, they still were pointing out that life is full of offsets. We had Toby, he wasn't able to be in person at the birth because of COVID restrictions, and he's in the parking lot, and he ends up befriending a man that, let me say, was hilarious. Y'all, that man, that grumpy man was so funny. The man in the parking lot who was his wife was on a respirator up in the hospital. He couldn't be there with her because of COVID restrictions. And so he had come to this little routine of being in the parking lot. And so as Toby is sitting there hoping that he is able to take his baby home, the friend, the guy in the parking lot, is there hoping his wife will hang on to her life. And so it was just like so even as we were watching wonderful things happen, there were still some tough things going on. And fortunately the wife came through it, and she was coming home at the end. The other thing that I think, again, bitter with the sweet, was when we were flashing back to Jack and Rebecca back in the day. Jack and Rebecca in this episode, in the flashbacks, they were dealing with their children growing up. And Jack was like having some in advance empty nest syndrome. Like, their kids are still like teens, and he's like, they gonna grow up, they ain't gonna talk to us no more, we ain't gonna be together no more, our family's gonna fall apart. And it was so cute to watch, like, Rebecca, like, slow down, we're gonna be fine. And then we see Rebecca today reflecting on that, and Jack's not there. And so again, it was a wonderful moment, but it was one, again, I would put it in the bitter and the sweet. I would put it on the bitter column, in terms of being a reflection of loss and then she even named, and I want to hear what y'all thoughts are on this, when she talked about what her husband has to hold in the marriage.
Well,
she was like, I know this is a lot for you, because you have to deal with Jack's death in a way that no one else does, because you have to deal with it as my husband, and also in this marriage, and as you lost your best friend. You have a special way, you have a special account of loss that you're managing, and we never talk about it. And she thanked him.
I want to make sure we get into our people here. We have Bernard Bordeaux. He is, shout out to my tambourine.
Hey, Bernard.
Thank you. Rachel said the acting was phenomenal. There was so few great speeches and great scenes. And Maurice said, I can't, damn it, spoilers. I'm only 20 minutes in. I can't see y'all live.
That's okay, Maurice. We know you're here in spirit. We know you're here in spirit, Maurice.
Let me tell you, when a few weeks ago, when my internet went down, I didn't even watch the podcast. I'm not watching it. Like, that's
we so get it, Maurice.
But I'm gonna tell you, with that story specifically, I feel like, well, for me, it really hit home, just because I mean, we've experienced that directly, of that when you're growing up, you're in this family unit, and it just doesn't occur to you that this isn't how it's going to be. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't occur to you, like, and obviously hindsight's 2020, all the cliches that people would say, but like, there's no way you can really appreciate those moments, because the way that they should be, because
it's true.
You just don't know. And it's like, yes, all the elements or most of the elements of your family can still be there. And we can even say all the elements when we're talking about memory and stuff like that, and talking about people, but it'll just never be the same again. And I just saw her experiencing that feeling of, she was reflecting back on having that conversation and being faced with the reality of what she was talking about. Like, this is different. All of the elements are still here, but it's even harder to experience than I was explaining when we were having a conversation all those years ago. So I just, that scene was another one that really just drew me in, based on personal experience and stuff like that. And obviously, yes, he is in a very precarious situation. And I feel like, to answer your question, that they do a great job of creating how that feels, of how it would actually feel.
Because he's such a good actor. I mean, he helps us to understand.
That's how it would be.
In his facial expression, we're getting the sense of the complexity that he is grappling with in every moment. A family
because I mean, that's how it would be. Everybody's cool. Everybody. There's no. They had a little bumps and bruises when they was ironing everything out, but it's just not the same.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not the same.
How did you feel? How did you? I'm sorry. Go ahead, bro. I was gonna.
No, I'm just saying that he's in the center of it.
Yeah, he's in the center of it. Brittany, what did you think in that moment? That after that scene of Rebecca kind of just naming, I don't even want to call it the elephant in the room, just the truth.
Yeah,
the
just
truth.
what it was.
You know what? I'm not gonna lie to you. I felt like I was like, did I miss something when she said it? I said, did I? I said, how did she get there? I promise you, I was like, I don't know.
What do you mean? How did she get there? When she said what?
Well, when she made that statement to him, I was like, wait. I said, Brittany, weren't you listening? You were paying attention. I said, how did she get to making that statement? I that was my first thought. I was like, but I mean, I get what she's saying. How did she get there? And so I didn't really like.
Were you out of the room again?
Part.
Were you out of the room again?
Listen, that door was closed. Okay. And I had headphones on. I was walking away.
It's too bad.
And so,
I respect not faking it though. I respect
that. But the part of the seeing Jack want to be with the kids is a reminder to everybody to cherish every moment.
Every single moment.
People. You just don't know, right?
Mm-hmm.
The cliche line, you just don't know. Is a reminder. But just thinking of Miguel having to do what he can. You were their father's friend. You were her husband's friend, and now you are her husband, and now you are their stepfather. Like, these are all things that are true. Mm-hmm. And having to navigate it, the people around you can make it easy or they can make it hard. And we know just from past seasons that Miguel's family life with his own children is not super great. So there is that extra layer of, I got tension on both sides. But I think that just as everyone gets older, it gets better.
Mm-hmm. But I'm gonna tell you the other thing that's interesting about his dynamic is that he's not the guy, and he knows he's not the guy, and he knows he'll never be the guy. So he went into that eyes open,
totally
understanding that this is just going to be, and you gotta respect that because
I think really that's what every widow couple does. I think that's what every widower does. Like,
I can conceive somebody. It could be the other way around. It could be somebody spent their life with somebody who was just, whatever, and then they, somebody dies,
super great,
and then they get somebody. So like the guy, the person came after. But like when because he's your friend, he was the man.
He was.
I will never fill these shoes. Our story is based on my friend dying. That's how it started. That's how our marriage started. Where, Becca had, they had this amazing love story, connection deal all the way from the beginning. And it's just like, he just went in without any of that. So I just, and will never be able, and he works, that's what I honestly see. Just as hard.
I struggle though with hearing that he'll never be able to fill these shoes and those different things. I struggle with hearing that because I don't think that was ever his goal, right? I don't think that was ever his. No, I'm not saying that you did. I'm just saying why I hear those and what I hear. I don't think that was ever his goal. Like, I don't feel like that was ever his purpose to come and fill these shoes or be as great as Jack was or any of these things. It's just that chapter is closed. I'm starting a new chapter with you. We're both starting a new chapter in our lives. Like, so, like, to have that pressure of knowing I'll never be this person to have that looping in your mind is almost like, don't marry somebody that you knew.
Yeah,
Don't
I
marry someone
agree.
that you knew in the
Yeah.
past. But I see what you're saying. Like but I don't I my hope, because to me that's doing a disservice to the person that's getting into the marriage. Like you're doing, to always have that whirling in your mind about that, that type of thing. So I just feel like he came in like, listen, this is a new place for each one of us. Like he's out of his marriage, your husband has passed, we're starting a new phase in our life, we're meeting up on this thing called Facebook, and we're we're rekindling, and we're going from there. So
Yes, thanks to Nasir Ahmed. We're meeting on Facebook.
Yeah.
Want to keep shout out Nasir Ahmed.
he was like,
I hear what you're
Mark
saying.
Zuckerberg is mad at you right now.
Well, listen, Mark Zuckerberg need to be hashtagging Nasir Ahmed. Okay. But I agree with you, sis. I think as you were talking, sis, I thought about the way that Kevin and Randall are always grappling with this. What would our father do? What would Jack have done? What would Jack do? What would Jack have done? How would Jack have handled this? I don't think Miguel gets caught up in all of that. I think Miguel is just doing his thing. So I hear what both of you all are saying. I think like he he knew that he was dealing with a family that had a void and was in mourning, but I also think that he is not a person that was trying to fill Jack's shoes. So I just want to plus one what you says I think that was why Jack and Miguel had such a good friendship. It was because they were never like, codependent. You know what I mean? Like they weren't like so caught up on each other. And it wasn't like Miguel was like a fan of Jack. They were friends. And so their identities were separate. And I think because of that, he was able to bring that separate identity in because that's just who Miguel is. I mean, I think we can all agree Miguel is pretty great. I mean,
Well, I don't
even in the flashbacks, it's like,
I don't.
Miguel, you so great, Miguel. I mean, Miguel is great.
Yeah, I mean he's wonderful, and I don't think that the his character, he never act like he was, coming from a aspect of trying to replace Jack, but at the same time, Jack, they had magic, and as great as Miguel is, him and Rebecca don't have magic.
Oh, you don't think
They,
so?
no, I mean they don't have. They are great together, but I mean, if you're saying they have the kind of magic that she had before, I mean, I don't even know how we're watching the same show. Like that's the whole point.
You know what? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I think that it's a different kind of magic.
Yeah, it's a different,
I don't think that one is, better or worse. I think that we're reflecting on something that was great. And I think we're having an experience now that was great. I don't know. I just feel like Miguel and Rebecca are such a good couple. And he's such a good partner to her. And I mean, just the way that he, responds to her needs and has been so attentive. Anyway, I think they have a magic that is appropriate right now. I mean, we're not going to see the two of them having the opportunity for the magic of pregnancy. We're not going to see them having the opportunity for the magic of parenting together. We're not going to see that. So I think that for where they are in their life and in the phase of life that they're in, they're experiencing a magic. So I just think it's apples and oranges.
Rachel said it's so obvious Miguel loves Rebecca when he looked at her and said, "You are just enough.
You're just the right amount." She was like, "I know I'm a lot. I know everything's a lot." He was like, "You are just the right amount." I said, "Good answer, Miguel." That was a very good response. That was such a nice thing. So I think it's a different kind of magic. That's what I would say. And then
I don't know. You know what? Because listen here, I feel, I don't know. Everybody's relationship, because Aubrey, like the definition of magic that Aubrey could be using for Jack and Rebecca, somebody else could look at it and go, magic, he was drunk. You know, they can start like pulling out all these other things.
Yeah, Rebecca gave up her music career.
You know I mean, right.
I mean,
like,
I'm not. What I'm saying is that.
But no. My point is that my point is perspective. That's just my point. My point is perspective. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't dismiss how anybody feels about either relationship. But it's just, I just think it's perspective. Like, because as you were sitting here, as you were talking, bro, I was just kind of like, I never thought about either one, her and Jack's relationship being magic, or her and Miguel's relationship being magic. I was just like, oh, you know, she's been loved twice.
To me, her relationship with Jack is that beyond reason type of pull to somebody, where you just feel that connection to somebody. Her relationship with Miguel is, this is a great relationship. All the boxes are ticked, all the logistics kind of work out, but
so like a soulmate versus something else.
Yeah, I'm just saying that. Wow. And I never said that one is better than the other.
No, sure.
Yeah, I'm just saying that there's that dynamic of that fire that you all are telling me you see the same fire in her eyes for Miguel as Jack. That's what you're
listen. That's because sometimes Rebecca forgets what fire is.
All right. Well, we're going down the hole. And I actually have concocted an amazing segue. I'll insert it now. You know which couple I don't think is magical is, y'all, is it just me? It's like, I still don't like Madison and Kevin. I don't know. Is it like, okay, I was happy that Kevin,
they're a couple out of circumstance.
I was happy that Kevin made it. A lot of couples out of circumstance are very happy. Again, it's have their magic
perspective. Like
your joy is your joy, your bliss is your bliss. Everybody in the world do you. Everybody. I'm just saying, like, when I look at their relationship, there's something that just continues to feel forced. And I am just like, is it just that Kevin, is it that everything is forced with Kevin? But it's like, I want to believe them. I want to believe, that this is going to work out.
But why do you want to believe them? But they don't even believe. Kevin and Madison, I think that they're both like, I don't know if this is going to work, but we got some cheering and we live together. So it's like, we're going to try something.
Kevin is asserting that you're my family. We are family. I'm going to be there. And then
it's almost like talking to you.
Opt in. She keeps giving him chances to opt out.
But she is experiencing something she hasn't experienced in a while, and that is family. Rebecca and Randall being there, talking to her the whole time until Kevin got there, encouraging her. Kevin's going to get there. We're just here until he does. Oh. Just her having to experience that. I think that was something she needed to help buy into what they have going on. And for Kevin, he needed to be not who he has been in the past, which is choose himself. Mm. So I think that they're both trying. This is just my perspective. They trying to buy in. They're like, listen, we got these kids. We mildly like each other. The sex is pretty good. So
I don't want it to. I want them to figure it out, but I don't think they have.
I think it can grow. It's like Married at First Sight. It's like,
That's a really good comparison, sis.
It's like, oh snap, we did it one time. Now we got kids. Oh, we live together. Oh, a pandemic. Like it's like it's so much happening to them. Exactly.
Gotcha again.
So much happening to them.
Do y'all remember that episode of Fresh Prince when he was playing cards with his grandmother?
Oh, yeah.
Yo, and he didn't even get to play.
I beat you.
She just kept dealing the cards and looking at her cards and saying, "Ooh, I beat you again." He never got to play.
He was like,
that was such a good show. Anyway, back to this great show. Y'all, we're just at about 30 minutes. I don't know. We hit on Nasir Ahmed. We talked about Jack and Rebecca. We talked about Kevin and Madison. We definitely got Toby and Kaden. Any other topics, y'all?
Well, Kevin and Randall, that was.
Oh yes, we gotta get there.
That was a good conversation.
Yeah, that was
cannot forget that.
That was and
so important.
It was a very complicated conversation for them to have, and they did it.
They did it.
You know, they did it, and it was one of those situations where you can see Kevin. It's like anything I say might make this worse. You know, it's just one of those things. You know what I mean?
And we took out bets last time. I don't know whether y'all remember. We betted on whether Kevin was going to take it well. That Randall was there and being supportive, and I thought Kevin wasn't going to take it well, but he did. I think he struggled a little bit. He had a beat of like, what? But then he pulled it together and was able to make his way to find gratitude in the room. You know,
I thought he was just confused. I thought he was like,
oh, you thought he was
Randall?
confused? Okay.
Yeah,
I thought he was
like, how did you, like, almost he had forgotten that he had spoke to Randall for like 2 minutes.
When
he was in the car
like, how
driving
would Randall
to the airport.
Well, he probably, I could see him knowing that Randall would still know, but I still think he was surprised that he would go, you know, they would go to that length. It's almost like, man, every time I think this dude is the best dude, he's just even better than I thought, you know? And that's the feeling I got when he heard him, like, oh, this dude is just.
I know.
I'm a trash person. Like, I'm a trash person. Like, Randall is the greatest. I'm horrible. And I think also, like, they brought in that piece when he said in the conversation, like, you growing up, like wanting to talk about that. I think that is a great part to show that I know that there are many white people who are having to have those similar conversations with their Black friends or their Black family members just to have to get that started. Like, let me be aware of the ignorance that I've had and go from there. And of course you need to do your own work, right? But if you want to know how your family or a family member has been affected and things you just didn't pay attention to, you know, that has to be an awkward conversation. But I love how Randall was like, listen, we got time. Don't even worry about it. We got time. We don't need to hash that out right now. You know, we can worry about that later.
But let me let you know this. You know how I don't like making predictions and all of that. I'll tell you this, we're going to get destroyed next episode. I'm making that prediction. It's going to,
Jack did pull over and get a little drink.
He sure did. In the
magical Jack.
In the preview for next episode, it seems Jack is buckling under the pressure a little, back in the past. You know, and it looks like the kids are pretty little in that flashback.
I do want to say that this is just to the real characters. I always love watching shows and seeing the real characters actually grow up. And it's just so crazy watching these episodes and watching them get taller and leaner and their voices are changing. And I'm like, you have to keep up. The show is like, has to keep up as they're growing older. Like, so I just love how that's happening, right? I just love watching them grow up in the show because I look like, oh, they were shorter than this like 2 seasons ago. Look at them. They're so cute.
He gets so big.
They're getting taller.
Randall's voice changing. You got big voice, Brandon. Yeah. And
so I love that.
And I have to give a shout out to, and I feel like Rachel and I have some kind of childhood memory related to Bop by Hanson. We don't have to try to figure out what it was, but I felt a little connection to that song. And I think I have to dig into the archives of my mind.
Like, wait a minute. Bop is like after your time.
It was like not. Middle. I just looked it up.
No. Bop was after your time.
Your clock could be off just in terms of knowing when times are, because Bop came out in 97. Okay. I was firmly in high school.
Gosh, it was 97.
And it is the Hansons. Isaac Taylor and Zach Hanson.
That song was catchy. Forget y'all.
Yeah, it was.
It was. Listen, I had the single.
Yeah.
Me and my friend Megan Jenkins, we used to love it.
If it was on the radio, if I flip it through the radio and it comes on, I ain't gonna change. I'll let it ride out.
And Rachel did say all the feels when Kevin told Nikki he named his son after him.
Oh, thank you for naming that. How can we forget that? Oh, that was so good. That was so good. That was unexpected.
And I was glad that he did the cameo as well. Like that. Definitely put the button.
So we could see his reaction.
Yeah.
Oh, so good.
That was good. That was good. And attention to detail. He came in just for those 14 seconds. Love it. So.
Oh, it's so good, y'all. And I wish we had the rights to Mbop or something, because I pulled it up here, but I'm not going to play it because I don't feel like editing it out. So
am I allowed to sing it? Because
sing it.
I know the words.
Yeah, do it.
Bop, it ba doo bop, shit ba doo bop, it ba doo. Yeah. Come back, bro.
And there you have it, folks. This has been The Right Perspective. Thank you for joining us.
Never know what you're gonna get.
You never know. If you haven't checked out chocolate. If you haven't checked out our latest podcast, we did a discussion of My Fair Lady and Pygmalion. Y'all, it is so good. Check it out. It's on all places where podcasts stream, and also it's on YouTube. So check us out. Right Perspective. Bye.